Hello, good evening, and welcome to No Exit.
Okay, here's your music. Can you turn up?
We can see it on the screen.
Can you turn up
you're giving
the
away the secrets.
Okay,
maybe we should start again.
Alors, c'est ça l'enfer. Je n'aurais jamais cru. Vous vous le rappelez, le soufre, le boucher, le grill. Ah, quelle plaisanterie. Pas besoin de grill. L'enfer, c'est les autres. So this is hell. I never would have believed. You remember the sulfur, the pyre, the grill? What a joke. No need for a grill. Hell is other people, or hell is the others. You cut it off.
Right there.
Hell is the others. But it also translated les autres as the other people. So that is the thesis of No Exit, which was a play, rather short, like Macbeth, but by Jean-Paul Sartre. And if you're not big on your Sartre, well, that's okay, because not a lot of people are. But the stuff that he said, the things that he did, stick with you because you've heard them and you didn't even know it. Like, I thought it was Camus, but it was Sartre, who said 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock is always too early or too late for anything you want to do. And that is so true.
I wake up then sometimes.
Where was the number?
He just put it up.
So if anybody wants to call, we're live at 716-202-8430. That's 202-8430. We are live.
It looks like the number is dedicated to your camera. Oh, there it is.
If you hear stutters, if you hear if you hear waits, it's because we are unedited. We are not taped and edited later. We don't have spots cut out. Everything you get is extemporaneous. So if you hear pauses or gasps or belches, that's cinema verite. That's the real thing. So I thought
Coke.
What?
Coke's the real thing.
And so I thought this evening. Coke is
not the real thing.
That's
Coke
right.
used to have Coke in it.
Well, it still does.
We're talking about cocaine?
No problem.
Yeah, it still does. It's like 0.0001%, but they have coca leaf that they process and they put it in there. That's still legit.
It's still in there in some degree? That's
but
nice.
It's not enough for you to get high. I mean, that...
It started out as a medicine.
Yeah, but so did
Pepsi.
So did heroin. Yeah, and so did heroin.
Heroin was as bad as the
Pepper.
problem it was fixing.
What?
Heroin was as bad as the problem it was fixing.
Well...
Not according to Lou Reed.
Well, no, this is 100 years ago, not 50. That heroin, yeah, but it's like Homer said about alcohol, the cause and solution to all life's problems. Homer Simpson said that.
Okay.
Homer, I thought the poet from the Greek history. Homer.
No, not him. No, Homer Simpson. Do you really think a Greek poet would say alcohol, the cause and solution to all life's problems?
Sure. They had wine back then. Why not?
Well, because if you drank the water, you got diarrhea and died.
They used to drink beer and wine.
At the same time?
No, but they would drink beer or wine because it could be kept
they
uninfected. Uninfected, yeah.
My mother used to say if you drank beer and wine at the same time, you would hallucinate and see snakes.
But if you didn't, you just see pink elephants.
Horses when she was passing away. She was on morphine.
Well, if you should get hospice care if you're going to die because.
Did you ever give a patient morphine?
Absolutely, but morphine is too small of a gun. I was a big believer in Dilaudid, which is a hydromorphone, because heroin is diacetyl morphine. So they're all variations on morphine, which is still made from the opium poppy, but astromorph is a form that is completely synthetic. So they made it in the lab, which is like the natural one. Just like the first artificial flavor was oil of wintergreen.
Ooh,
that was the first. That was the first artificial flavor. And
it's an artificial flavor, huh? Didn't know that.
It tastes like the real thing, and that's the whole thing. That they're not all artificial, but that was the first one that was artificially created. That was a duplicate of natural. And the next one was the banana flavor. And so
I would like that because I don't like to eat bananas, but I love banana candy, banana ice cream.
Talk louder. You're fading.
Yeah, that.
Where's got to be?
That's better.
Yeah, that. Okay. But we used opiates liberally. But when I broke my pelvis, I didn't need them because it only hurt when I moved. So if I was just laying there, I wasn't in pain. And that's the thing about when bones break, it's not the bone, but the periosteum, which is a thin layer that's like a saran wrap layer that's very, very tight on the bones. Like if you ever get to on a chicken and you get that membrane thing on the bone, that's the periosteum. That's what hurts.
What, like in a chicken leg?
or anywhere other. But yeah, that's the thing, that you'll get that little membrane. That's the periosteum. That's what hurts when people get an arterial blood gas. Hitting that is what hurts. So when that breaks in the bone, that's what hurts. So if you're not disrupting the periosteum, and but yeah, the B-52, which was 5 of
Good band.
that was 5 of Versed, or 2 of Versed and 5 of Dilaudid. That would put down most people, unless it was a 10-4 good buddy. That would put down everybody else.
I didn't follow that.
I didn't either.
That 10 milligrams of Dilaudid with 4 milligrams of Versed would knock out anybody.
Oh, and the nickname for that drug combination is called B52?
Well, 5 and 2. 5 milligrams and 2 milligrams B52. And the 10-4 good body is 10 and 4.
Oh.
Okay, cool.
But now
Are you
we
going to
have-
introduce people like Paula does?
Didn't
Oh,
I,
10-4 good
didn't
buddy.
I,
Forgot
didn't
to
I
do
do that
that.
already?
No.
Oh, well.
went
we have,
right into
we
the-
have Sal here, which is a different Sal than you might know, Richard and Vanessa, and we got Tom engineering this evening. And I'm Jason, as always, the talking head. And
You're David Byrne?
no, I'm the talking.
You're Tina Weymouth?
I'm the big talking head.
Yes.
The-
David Byrne's the big talking head.
Kind of like from HBO when they had that.
Speak up.
I can't remember his name. Remember on HBO they had a guy who was just a graphic face and head that was on
Max
TV.
Headroom.
Yes.
That was on
That
ABC.
started on...
That was on ABC. Like, it
Yeah,
was
and-
like Thursday nights at 10 p.m. or something.
But on Third Rock from the Sun, Bill Shatner played the big talking head. He was from space, and he was just a big talking head.
Oh, cool.
And
Do you remember
David Byrne was the
Max
little head.
Headroom?
yeah, 20 minutes into the future. That was his thing. Matt Frewer played Max Headroom, and he's 20 minutes into the future. So, like, if you could have that superpower, it was like Mr. Short-Term Memory on Saturday Night Live, played by Tom Hanks. He forgets stuff from 30 seconds ago. Or if you could see in the future, but only 30 seconds in the future. But speaking of, on those lines, I want to talk about dreams tonight, but like not metaphysical stuff, like actual dreams.
Well, things that are meant to be crushed by society.
No, not at all. You're completely off target.
The other kind of dream.
No, like literal dreaming in your brain when you're sleeping.
Yes.
Yeah, not aspirations. That
No. I think I understand what Vanessa's saying. She's talking about sexual dreams, which occur sometimes.
and well, that may be because we only remember 5 to 10% of our dreams. You know why? Because the things that happen when we're dreaming, we're asleep, and we don't even have any idea. And the only reason we remember dreams is because we're awakened in the middle of it.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't make any sense. And that's why watching Inception earlier this week, that was what they propounded. And like saying, if you don't know how you got here, well, we don't know how we got anywhere in our dreams because we don't remember back. It's only when you're awakened. And that's why unless you write it down quickly, you won't even remember it later in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I do have times where I clearly remember my dreams.
but that's what I'm saying.
That's when
5
you
to
wake
10% of the times that can't wake up.
Okay, yeah.
And but the thing is, Richard and I talked about this, about dream analysis, because there's 2 different ways to look at that. That one is like the recurrent theme of like being naked in front of people or not being ready for an exam. I had that dream for many years, and I don't know what it represented, but it was the same idea that I didn't have any of the coursework done, and I was there for the exam, and I wasn't prepared. I don't know why, and usually I'd be placed back in high school, and this was 25 years after. I was in high school. And so I don't know why I would have that dream. But like dreaming about a red Frisbee, no, you can't, that doesn't have any relevance. And Richard doesn't believe this, but psychiatrists don't put any stead in that. And then he talks about Sigmund Freud and...
Sigmund Freud?
Fraud.
I just say that as a joke, but
Okay.
Freud didn't have anything to base that on. Because as I've said, what have I said many times? We're going to find out that all psychiatry is all neurology. It's all going to be ones and zeros. It's all going to be...
The approximation of what actually is.
No, the reality
Ones and
of...
zeros are one or the other, and there can be things in life that fall down to nothing, that go from nothing to infinity, and you
But
can't-
that's all the ones and zeros that are all adding up, because that's what.
But you can only have so many ones and zeros, and there's a finite number.
But who we are is on
There
the
is.
on the less than molecular level. It's on the quantum level. That's who makes us who we are. I mean, out of the millions of sperm, that one that gets through, if another one gets through, none of us are here. We're somebody else.
Correct.
You know,
Well,
and,
any minor change will completely change the future.
and that's where and that's what we're going to find out when we deconstruct the brain. Like as I've said this many times and I get ignored. Your Broca's area is the size of the ball on that ballpoint pen. You can't even see it. It's less than 1 millimeter. That's what allows you to speak. And in 90% of right-handed people and 70% of left-handed people, it's on the left side. And that's if you get a clot there, you get a broken aphasia. So you got it here, you can't get it here.
Oh,
And-
I had a friend that happened to before he passed away.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks because the frustration's incredible. But remember having a scab as a kid? Imagine a little piece of that scab,
A non-union worker.
a little piece of that
was a
coagulum
non-union
on your
worker.
skin, which we colloquially call a scab, that's enough to completely make you unable to speak. And that's why it's not. I have a friend whose neurologist said, this is the most valuable real estate in your body, your brain. It's the most valuable real estate.
It also consumes the most energy in your body.
What?
It also consumes the most energy in your body. Your brain,
Well,
your
that,
brain your brain uses a lot of energy.
and if you lose blood flow to your brain, you will become unconscious in less than 10 seconds. So when your head gets cut off in the guillotine, you have about 8 to 10 seconds before you're unconscious.
So the headsman's got to be quick to pull the head up and make it see its own body so it's aware of it.
Well, there was
last
there were
moment.
supposed
Why would they have to do that?
Well,
Because
there
they
were-
have to, because
There were supposed plans about that, and those were all kind of specious. The stories kind of don't make sense. But the last person to be guillotined in France was in 1977. It was Hamid Janoubi, who was a Tunisian or an Algerian rapist and murderer, and it was a private. It was a private execution because the last public one was in 1939. 250 to 400,000 people turned out to see the guy lose his head.
people
And-
like that stuff.
Yeah, even in 1939, and
They like it even more now.
well,
That's hard to say.
yeah. I think that's a little bit extreme and not.
I think it's
don't-
true.
People don't want to see actual horror. They want to see people deported, but not the people they know. You know, not those immigrants. Those are our immigrants. You know, they don't want people they know. They want people not, and they want to see people executed, but not people they know. They don't want to see people. That's why it was easier.
That's why you're supposed to love people that are your enemies and not focus on just the people you know.
Well, that's a very Christian way of looking at it. You know
Yeah.
that.
And he is one.
But he doesn't believe in what is it? You don't believe in divinity, or what is it?
No,
or you don't
no,
believe
I
in
don't
religion?
I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people in my church say it's a relationship. It's not religion.
What church do you go to?
Fairhaven's.
I don't know that one.
Can we turn his stick up a little?
I mean, what is Fairhaven's? What is it?
Fairhaven's is a non-denominational scriptural church.
Oh, okay. So it's still in the Judeo-Christian tradition.
Yes, that sounds like it should be correct.
Should be.
I don't know for sure myself, so I'm
Does it
just
follow the
saying
Bible?
I'm agreeing with you. Yes.
Then
Which
there it
Bible?
is.
And which variation?
And what-
I like NIV and King James, and there's people that like King James and they like Amplified, and they like those are the main ones, and there's a few others.
what do you think about the books that didn't make it into the Bible?
My
The
favorite.
Apocrypha.
I never read those, and I just
The Gospel of Thomas is the best. That's my favorite one. Recommended
Oh.
reading.
What about Bell and the Dragon?
I know a dog named Bella who's an emotional support dog.
And well, you know, like the dyslexic.
My one pastor was dyslexic.
But you know, they spend all night praying to dog.
Okay, but dog. But I understand that. But I mean,
And
He's a Chihuahua.
a Chihuahua.
Yeah, he's got a lot of attitude.
Chai Rodriguez. That's Chichi Rodriguez, Les.
So I did write down my dreams for a long time, and I still write them down whenever I have one.
Yeah.
Would you
You know
like
what would
to
be
hear?
even better is like speaking it into a recording device rather than writing it because it's even more instantaneous.
Good point.
Sometimes I used to do that.
So like,
Would you like to hear it
I would.
and tell me what the symbolism is?
Okay.
Okay. In my dream, I'm at a rundown trailer park in Great Britain, and I'm visiting an impoverished family. earlier in the day, I had gone to a thrift store and I had purchased a baseball hat with the words 500 OZ on it. They were embroidered. Now the family was all excited because they had been advised that they were advised that night they were beginning a visit from Jesus.
Okay.
Now I pointed to a small stool and I said, now when Jesus comes over, have him sit on that footstool. However, before he sits down, put 2 seat cushions on top of it. The 12-year-old daughter in the house began to cry. I can't believe we're going to have Jesus sit on our footstool instead of the best seat in the house. And I could sense that the anger in the family was starting to grow. So I justified my suggestion. Look, if you have Jesus sit on that footstool with those 2 cushions, you can sell each of them separately on eBay. And people will buy them because they will think they have healing powers and you'll make a fortune. Plus, they'll be easier to ship. Just put them in a small box and you can send them
Well, why
out.
limit it to 2? Make it 5.
And this is an actual dream because there's nothing absurd about it. You know, what
I was looking for
hallmarks of
something
dreams
absurd.
is there's stuff that you can't explain that's from your subconscious.
What's the
Because that's-
500-ounce thing about?
Here's the rest of the dream. So I said, now if you have Jesus sit on the best seat in the house, this gigantic chair you have, you'll never be able to ship that. So you can't sell it on eBay. So the father of the house came up to me and he was staring at my hat, 500 ounces. He said, son, you are about to freeze to death. It is time for you to leave. So I left the trailer park, and the next thing I knew, I was in a expensive boardroom with all of the wealthiest capitalists in England. One of them came up to me and said, we heard what you recommended to that family. Who sent you here? And I woke up.
Who sent you here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think I
still
know
not
the
a-
answer to that.
You do know?
Well, I'm not going to say, but I think I know who it is.
Ooh.
No, you got to open your mouth, so you got to say it.
No, I don't.
That's not how we work. I mean, if you
Okay,
have an idea,
I have an idea that, well, basically, I believe that you can't serve God and money, though everybody needs a certain amount of money. But that's
Necessary evil.
not necessarily because it says
is.
don't.
It's the
Everyone
basis of
needs enough-
capitalism, and capitalism is not a good thing.
except it's the best thing we have compared to everything else.
That's,
It depends.
Because we haven't really
once we
gotten to try the
but
other
we're-
things
but-
correctly.
But we're already
Right.
trying to get back into monopolies again, and that was a problem in the 30s.
Well, and even oligopolies is bad
Oh,
enough.
we have monopolies now, like media monopolies. Like you have Clear Channel. How come local TV and radio stations, they all say, our sister station? There should not be sister stations, like 3 or 4 of them on the AM band owned by one person that also has 3 or 4 of them on the FM band. There used to be laws where you could only own 1 AM and 1 FM station in a city, and that provided competition. You had more news departments, and they would compete with each other, and therefore you had more diversity and more representation. They were trying to
Exactly.
outdo each other and actually get the real stories. And then under Ronald Reagan, when he deregulated all that, which also made infomercials legal, which did away with late night movies and reruns of The Twilight Zone and all that with the short commercials, suddenly full form long commercials were legal. And then that also made things possible like conservative talk radio, like Rush Limbaugh, which led to things such as Fox News emerging, which led into the horrible world we live in now.
well said.
I don't know if I believe it all.
That's true.
I
It's all
believe a lot of
verifiable.
I believe a lot of that.
It's all
but-
absolutely true. And you can research it. It's true.
No, I'm not doubting that, but I'm
Well,
saying
the
that
horrible world we live in now is a result of.
I see it sort of as like conservative talk radio leading to your things like the Tea Party, leading eventually to the MAGA movement. There's a lineage. It started with Ronald Reagan. Barry Goldwater, he warned against Reagan and his crazies and his far-right religious evangelical weirdo base destroying the Republican Party from within. And then if they got power in the United States, they would destroy the United States from within, which they've been doing since 1980 when Reagan came to power and things really changed.
Yeah, at the same time, the country has a long way to go before it's destroyed. I mean,
That's close.
That apocalyptic perspective, I think, is a little bit overwrought because
It depends
the
whether
problem-
it is or not.
the problem with the MAGA people is they're still a minority. I mean,
They're like 30%,
Yeah.
but they're very vocal and they're very powerful
no,
right now.
most aren't. Most aren't. They're followers. They're not leaders.
Oh, they're followers, but
And-
the people they follow
But the
are
thing
very
is
powerful.
that Dumb Donnie, did you see his idiotic picture of him as Superman with the fat gut and everything? You know,
Jesus.
fat ass.
Was
What,
that
is this a
the
parody
impersonator?
picture? If he did a Superman picture, he'd make himself buff and muscular.
Well, that's the thing that it was released from the White House.
Was it that parody guy
I gotta
that
see
did
that.
No, it was 2
Hey,
days
can you
ago.
spin that image up? Can someone find it and put it up? This is a thing worth
Trump as
worth,
Superman?
worth seeing.
Yeah,
if
that's
it,
what it
if
was
we
the
can
day
find
that
it.
Superman was released. So it was.
That's like Soldier Boy, Superman that hoe.
And that when Dumb Donnie dies, he's like a tornado, and he'll just dissolve.
When he
And-
dies, they got to treat his body like they did Mussolini's.
What, and string him up in public?
Stick him up, beat it with a baseball bat 500 times and stuff.
Well,
I don't think you should treat people like that.
that,
He's not a person.
but
That's also stereotyping and degrading people unnaturally.
Some people deserve it.
that's your opinion.
That's facts.
Opinions aren't fact.
Okay,
Mine
if
is.
you put up Thin 9, we could see the Superman picture.
Yes. Let's see Super Trump. Not Super Tramp, the band.
Yeah, see the gut?
Holy moly.
Okay.
I see the
I hope
gut.
that- I
Oh,
hope
that's
that-
funny.
I hope that DC gives him a cease and desist
I hope so too. Yeah, DC does need to give a cease and desist.
because
Is he trying to outdo Homelander?
that's from The Boys and
Yeah.
Amazon
Good show.
TV. Because in The Boys, that the superheroes are run by the Vought Corporation, so they're like essentially heroes for hire, which was Power Man and the Iron Fist in the early '70s. Heroes for hire.
Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, there is diversity in the Christian population regarding support of either the Republicans.
Speak
or
up.
There is diversity in the Christian community between following Trump or following the Democrats.
Oh yeah, there is, but I prefer the early Gnostic Christians, the very, very early ones.
Why?
Myself,
Can you define that for me?
the most pure, the ones who believed Mary Magdalene was his head disciple, and women had a place in the church and could preach. And I was more egalitarian.
It's a fascinating way of looking at the world, the Gnostic view. Mm-hmm. It goes like this. They looked at the whole mythology of the Christian religion, and they said, something's not right here. We got to try to piece this together so it makes more sense. And here's what they came up with. Many years ago, there was a God who, well, there's still, according to them, there still is, a God who governs the whole universe.
Yes.
But it was an awful lot to govern. So this God, he divided it up into sections. In one section, you have the earth. And the lesser God, who he put in charge of the earth,
Yes, the demigod Jehovah.
was kind of a moron.
Yes.
And he knew this, but
That's part of why his creation is so flawed and full of defects, and the quality control is atrocious.
he,
if you think about
he
it.
knew this, but he said, I don't have anyone else to govern that section of the universe. So what this master God would do is from time to time, he would visit the earth and try to fix some of the problems that the secondary God had. And they would point to the fact that in the Ten Commandments, the first three are like, look at me, look how great I am,
It
worship
says,
me.
have no
worship me."
false gods before me.
Right.
That means there's other gods.
In other words,
There's not just one.
Yeah,
but there is the overall creator above, and then the demigods below. And the demigod Jehovah is a deceptive entity which runs this world, which is worshipped wrongly as the creator God, but is actually a sub-creator under the true creator.
The difference between what the Bible says and what you're saying is that Satan rules the world, and that's what
Jehovah is basically Satan. They grafted onto Satan and
I have
Lucifer.
a disagreement with that, but Satan rules the world, and that's why things are so bad.
That's Jehovah. That's the God of the Judeo-Christian Bible.
So the
They just try
Gnostics-
to deflect the blame.
The Gnostics would say periodically you'll get these visitations from the God, the master God, like in the Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
That snake was the real master God who couldn't show up because then he would threaten the subordinate God. So he showed up as a snake. And notice what he said. He said, "If that's the tree of knowledge, why wouldn't God want you to have that? Like, who is this?" How wise is this God who's governing you? So it's a fascinating. Oh, and so of course when the
I think what the issue is the idea of whether you are in charge of your own life or you follow after someone that's bigger and more capable than you are.
There is no external God. If there is a God, there's a theory that it's everyone all together as one thing, and everything's a part of God. That's one theory, and I like that theory. But as for a higher source outside of yourself, there is none. You are part of the higher source if there is a higher source, but there is no external force greater than yourself. And do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Well, get hit by a car and see how strong your force is.
I want to.
he'll come to your rescue when you do get hit.
That's a young man's game. I'm sorry. I want to hear the end of the story. You were saying about
A car hitting you is random, though. That's a human driving a car. What's
it's
that
not
have to
always
do with
random.
anything?
You said
I want to know the Gnostics.
that you were. I forget how you said it. You said that you are the power that is ultimate. It's not outside.
You are part of the ultimate power. Yes,
saying
you are
that
part of God. Everything is part of the one.
That's the humanist perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the Gnostics would say, whenever you pray, don't pray to this inferior God who's governing the earth. Pray to the master God. And then they would say, well, why don't you like just make that your God, the master God? And they said, no. That would be too threatening to the God who's in charge
Yes,
of the
because
earth.
he's a narcissist. He's a lot
So-
like a sky trump.
They chose the word Gnostic, which means to know.
Mm-hmm.
They would say, instead of like forming this religion to the master God, just sit quietly and you will know the presence of the master God.
As good as anything else, that because I mean,
It's better than allegiance to Jehovah, the demigod.
I don't even put any thought into that because it has no effect on my daily life.
It does, because it influences politics like crazy right now in the United States and especially worldwide.
I am a white, non-Jewish male in the U.S.
There's got to be something that they can hold against you if they want.
If I said you had a great
Gotta
body,
think
would you hold
about
it
it.
against me? I don't know if that line has ever worked. That's why it was like the line in Suits. You find where it hurts and you press. And that's just it. You find where it hurts and you press.
And what does that do? Makes it hurt more?
It hurts so good,
You
like
find
John
a person's weakness, and then that's where you press, because if you press where it doesn't hurt, it doesn't bother them. But if you find their weakness, whether it's they cheat, they drink, they're fractured, their relationship with their children, their finances, their church, you find where it hurts and you press, because then you make them make decisions that are the ones that really matter to them, or they make bad decisions to your favor. That's the point. You find somebody at their weakest point, and that's what you exploit.
Okay.
Sounds very adversarial.
That's what the law.
Everybody's out to get you, and you got to fight back.
Well, that's why that's the problem with the courtrooms, because if a malpractice trial actually goes to trial, 5 out of 6 are won by doctors if they go to trial, but the doctors, if they don't drink, they start drinking. If they drink more. If they don't take drugs, they start. They become impotent. They get divorced. They get chronic diarrhea. They get chronic vomiting. They get headaches. They get insomnia. They get depressed. They have a psychotic break. All this stuff, and the lawyers just look at it as a game. The lawyers look at it as a game, and they don't care that they're ruining somebody's life. Just that, I got to win in court. Mm-hmm. They are the closest thing to the amoral as you can meet, and if you take away a couple of adjectives, you can't tell who's a prostitute and who's a lawyer. If you take away a couple of adjectives, because the words apply to both of them.
Do you know the song by the pop group "We Are All Prostitutes"?
No.
It addresses such things. It's great. Highly recommended listening.
That's the name of the group?
It's called the Pop Group. They were like a weird disco funk punk band from the late 70s in England, and one of their songs is "We Are All Prostitutes." It's got the lyrics are great.
I've never heard of that band at all. But what's the difference?
Vanessa specializes in obscure music.
That
I sent you that video.
You did?
Yeah.
So a band that is two people in a garage, and then they sang one song, and they never did a show, and that was
White Stripes.
No, that Jack White has a store in Detroit.
He had two people in a garage.
He has a store in Detroit where.
See, we were talking about the difference between corporate music and non-corporate music.
Mm-hmm.
And
sometimes non-corporate music becomes corporate music as it gets bigger, and then they get signed, and they become corporate music.
Yeah.
And
that's wrong.
Well,
how's it wrong?
It's wrong because the corporate conforms it to its idea of what it should be rather than allowing free choice.
I'm not a huge fan of Nirvana, but if you think about the band Nirvana, when they were on Sub Pop and they eventually end up on Geffen Records, they really didn't change their content. They had songs like Rape Me, and that's released by Geffen Records, things like that. So their content was remaining the same, but the distribution and the way it got to people was through a corporate means. So does that make it corporate music as it's being distributed and profited off of by a corporation?
Well, was Geffen Records corporate?
Yes, part of Warner Brothers. Warner Electric Asylum, WEA, David Geffen, huge name.
So was their bottom line making money or producing art?
I think maybe both, but I think that
by force.
I think with that band, they were probably more interested in creating art, but in the end, it got taken over by a corporate entity as the means of distribution and getting that art to people, rather than a smaller indie label.
So, for example, Atlantic Records was a mom and pop operation. Signed a lot of famous artists like the Rolling Stones.
No, Atlantic never signed the Rolling Stones. Oh, wait a minute. They did in the late 60s, but by that time they had been owned by Warner Brothers, and the Rolling Stones got their own label. The Rolling Stones started out in Decca in England, and that was called London here, but it was part of the same company. And then the Rolling Stones got given their own vanity label by Atlantic when Sticky Fingers came out. But by that time, it was a corporate label.
No, they became corporate. I think it was in the 1990s.
No, when Atlantic...
when Erdogan sold to Sony.
It was still corporate. If you look even at Atlantic Records from 1975 at the bottom, it'll have at the bottom perimeter a unit of Warner Communications Company with the little W, the little Warner Communications logo. So it happened... If it happened that late, it would be in the mid-70s. But I believe it happened in the late 60s.
I remember when it happened because they had a documentary with Erdogan, who was the head of the, talking about what the negotiations were like.
Mm-hmm.
He was still affiliated with Warner in the 70s, though. Verified on any record label you look at.
Well,
Warner Communications is right there.
They could be owned by Warner with the proviso that Erdogan and his crew had final say.
They might have had final say, but they're still part of a corporation.
Well, I mean, I think that Prince really underscored it by when he went to Kalang or whatever. That's what MTV would, how they pronounce it when he went to the symbol, because it was unpronounceable. Because what did you say? Because if they couldn't say his name, that they couldn't publish his work. You said something a couple of months back that about Prince when he changed his name to that. It had to do with the contract. Yeah. The contract thing, because art will out, and even if it's busking on the street, the artists will make their art.
I hope so.
And it's like that recording of Louie Louie that
the Kingsmen.
Yeah, the Kingsmen. But if you saw it on MTV, you know what it was? The video was a fraternity party. They just got a video of them because they were barely a band, and Louie Louie is actually a reggae song.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why...
and the people of Seattle are so proud of the Kingsmen that they submitted a bill to the legislature of Washington State. Could we please make Louie Louie the official song of Washington State? and it was a fierce debate. You know, are you going to have that, or are you going to have, or are you going to have Washington, I love you, or whatever the old one was? And they had a plebiscite, and people were writing in to their legislators. People took it very seriously. The compromise was very interesting. You know what the compromise was?
I was a mashup between the two.
Compromise was, we are going to still have Washington, My Beloved Home, to be the official song of Washington, but we are going to make Louie Louie the official rock song of the state.
Hey, fair enough.
Okay.
And that was Louie Louie, not Louie Louie. That one.
No, that's Brother Louie by Stories.
Brother Louie. Yeah, Stories. I couldn't think of
on the Kama Sutra label from 1973, I believe.
It's either 3 or 4, but I think you're right.
73.
So that's what I was thinking of, Louie Louie. That I just knew it as Louie Louie. A little girl that waits for me.
And it pushed the boundaries of what you could say on a song.
Well, people were guessing what they were saying in the song, too, because it was
they
mumbly.
slurred it, yeah.
Right. Well, that was in Maxim or FHM or one of those magazines 25 years ago, because somebody writing for those, they used the same idea too many times, because they would talk about the candy goiter of Pez. And somebody really liked that line because they wrote about it again, the candy goiter of Pez.
That's a name for a noise project.
But you can only say that once. You can't use it again, you know?
Why not?
Because it lost its allure the second time.
Well, if the people who read it the second time didn't read it the first time, maybe it could still work on them.
Okay, that's not the most common answer. I mean, of course if you haven't seen it first. I mean, that's... Of course, if they didn't see it before. You know, if you never saw an I Love Lucy until today, you'd think it was hilarious. But I never saw Ghostbusters until a couple weeks ago. I did not laugh once.
Well, it's not really funny.
But I could
sometimes it's funny in one era, and then it's not funny in another.
But I could watch Real Genius every day and laugh every time. I mean, that was Val Kilmer's funniest movie, even funnier than Top Secret. But the best line, I want to be seeing more of you in the lab. Fine, I'll gain weight.
So Samuel Beckett,
Yeah.
he made that famous play, Waiting for Godot.
While waiting for Godot.
And there's Nick's World. He's the master of the non sequitur. See, he left a comment.
No swaith DDADD equals th.
So be prepared to see a lot of non sequiturs.
What's that mean?
Every show he does this on. He leaves these non sequiturs.
Okay, what do you mean by non sequiturs? It just looks like gibberish.
Non sequitur means it does not follow.
Yeah. Like you're very good at non sequiturs.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But it should flow. It shouldn't stop it. You know, it's not like that. It's one thing to steer the ship in another direction. It's another to catch a crab and stop the entire speed and stop it dead in the water. Do you know that phrase, to catch a crab?
No.
That's in rowing.
Get them off toilet seats.
Ugh.
Crabs.
Although entomologists are decrying the lack of pubic hair because the crab louse is dying out. There's no pubes for the crabs to live in because they're shaving. But no, to catch a crab is because you're supposed to, in the water, you come back and then you turn it sideways as you go forward. But if you drop if you drop the oar in the water as you're going forward, you'll catch a crab. You can be thrown out of the shell, or you can stop the whole shell from moving. Like those guys in the West Side Rowing Club. They all in a circle, you know, in a circle. But if instead of coming back, or they're pulling this way and they're going back. But if they pull back the same way and they drop it in the water, that's catching a crab, and that will screw you up. I mean, completely. If you're in the Olympics and you catch a crab, you're going to lose your event. Period. Yep. I mean, you can't tolerate even one accident.
If you catch a lobster, what happens then?
They don't literally catch a crab.
Why couldn't you catch a lobster? They're sort of similar, and they got pinchy claws, and they're crustaceans.
Then why don't they catch a spider? Those are arachnids also.
A spider.
I mean, it's just a term, and I don't know from where it comes. Probably from
spiders
Boston,
have 8
where
legs, and crabs have 6. So it's sort of like a water spider with fewer legs.
I don't know.
Although they have the claws, and spiders don't have claws, so wouldn't that bump it up to 8? There's like 3 on each side, then you got your claws, so that makes it 8.
Do you know why the lobsters in the tank at like Wegmans or Tops have rubber bands on the claws of the lobsters?
So they can't masturbate?
They fight each other.
Yeah, and they will tear claws off till one's left with one claw.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a
And,
harsh existence.
well, mostly they're solitary, so that's why they don't encounter each other. That's not normal for them to be in that close proximity.
I have heard that if you put red ants and black ants in a jar, there will be no reaction at all. Like they'll get along. But if you shake the jar, they'll fight each other to the death.
Do they know who will win, though? That's what I mean, because the black ants generally are larger than the red ants, and that's what I wonder. Because I love the thing that bees do to invaders, like if a wasp or a hornet gets in the nest,
Okay.
because they all swarm around it, and they beat their wings, so they heat it up, and they overheat it and kill it that way.
Wow.
Wow, that's interesting.
Because the only place that communism works is in the beehive or in the Buddhist monk, or monastery, the Buddhist monks, the monastery.
And you know, locally, if you
I'm
notice,
flexing in Welsh. Okay, well, fair enough.
if you notice birds, the little sparrows will go after a crow, and they'll always attack it in groups.
Oh, yeah.
And then the crow is like, "What did I get into? I'm out of here."
But at the same time, crows will also form gangs, because I read a story about crows would had a friendship with a dog, and they would, or a cat, and they would protect the cat. And when another cat came in town, the crows all killed that cat to say, "Stay out of here." And they're very, very cliquish, and they remember. So if you throw a rock at a crow, it's going to remember you. But if you give it something to eat, it's going to remember you too. And if you want mean birds, crows, ravens, geese,
Yeah,
ducks,
geese, Canada geese.
swans, they're all mean as hell.
How about the ever popular myna bird in Hawaii? They're fun. They like to spar.
Did you ever have any in your backyard?
Not in my backyard, but there were a lot in Hilo, and I would go to Hilo and see them.
I never saw any on Oahu.
They were real playful. They love to fight, but it's sort of a playful fighting, but it is fighting.
Do you ever see any? No?
Not at all. But I was on Oahu. I only went to the Big Island once.
So different islands have different wildlife.
Sort of, because some of the stuff was introduced. Like they introduced mongoose to Oahu, but there's nothing for the mongoose to fight.
Oh, there's mongoose over Big Island. They introduced them there to take care of the rats, but then they figured out that one's nocturnal and one likes to hang out during the day, so it never worked.
And but there are no squirrels, there are no chipmunks, there are no raccoons, there are no groundhogs.
You had no squirrels?
No squirrels.
No, but they
Your attic is safe there.
They introduced
have one.
mule deer, because like we have white-tailed deer here. They introduced mule deer here. There's mule deer on Koloahe, and there's also mule deer on Maui and on the Big Island. Just like the wild boar, because wild boar on Oahu are hunted with a knife. There was a patient that I'd seen, who he would dialyze Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The other 4 days, he'd be out hunting wild boar with a knife, and he had 4 tusks from a wild boar on his keychain. That was the coolest thing I ever saw on a keychain. But on Maui, they hunt them with rifles. That's how big the wild boar get.
Oh, they get big, yeah.
So what was the most common animal you saw in Hawaii? Was it is it the chickens?
The feral chicken, which was like, they were basically a hybrid between a domesticated chicken and the Asian red jungle fowl. A lot of them. And then where I was, there were a lot of Kalige pheasants, which were introduced from Asia. They live in Thailand.
How about you,
Burma.
Jason?
The only stuff I've told the story many times that I worked 100 nights in 2011. That was the best year of my life. I was 40, I was single, and I was working nights in Hawaii. I mean, dude, I had the world by the ass. And every night at 5:50 a.m., it would rain for 10 minutes, 5:50 to 10 o'clock, or till 6 o'clock.
It would ring. What rain?
Rain.
Oh, rain.
Water would fall from the sky as condensate, as precipitate.
Got it.
And then it would stop at 6 a.m. By 6:15, it had all evaporated up, and the streets were dry. But I remember one morning.
Hey.
What happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Tom must have been messing with the headphones.
That there was a cat that was sitting there looking, and this rooster walks right in front of it. The cat's impassive. Doesn't even.
He doesn't want to mess with it.
But that's the thing. They're about equal sized. I think the cat could have taken the rooster, but wasn't even interested. because a feral cat on the mainland lives about 2 years, and it's a very, very sad life. A feral cat on Oahu lives about 15 years, and so they're very stable environments because they do a lot of TNR, trap, neuter, release. And people will sign an agreement with the Hawaiian Humane Society that they'll just feed them. So you just throw the food out there, because if you take those cats out, it creates a suction, and other cats will move in. Because people will take their dogs back to the mainland, but they'll leave their cats there to live by themselves.
Did you see any cats when you were on the Big Island? Many.
Yeah, we had 4 feral cats move into my yard out of nowhere, and we just took them in.
But did you take them in or just feed them outside?
Oh, well,
Because they
hung out on the property.
They won't let you pet them.
Right.
They lived out in the outbuilding with my friend Chris. So, yeah, we took them in. The mother had 3 kittens, and I find 3 kittens in one of my work boots out on the back porch. They're just crawling out of there.
But that's why TNR really works, because and they would notch the left ear, so you knew that they were neutered, because dogs have 12,000 generations of breeding, whereas cats are about this far away from being feral. They're one generation from being wild animals, and the only difference between a tiger and a house cat is where they live. You know, I mean, they both have the same death in their eyes and transactional nature of everything they do, that if they can't kill you and eat you, then they'll just tolerate you.
Sal, you have an animal companion?
No, I take care of people. I don't take care of pets.
Ooh, that's heavy. I like that.
But then again, I will donate to animal charities. I don't donate to human charities, because that's a lot of thrown away money. Because
I don't donate to them either, because a lot of the money goes to CEOs, and I think
that's what I just said.
Yeah.
It's thrown away money.
Yeah.
And also, you should only need charity for a short amount of time until you bounce back. If you have to constantly rely on it, something is wrong. And if that charity includes home relief, that if you're not the thing about people, the means testing, like in Louisiana, most people on Medicaid are working. The thing that they say that that idiot Johnson says, well, it's a moral question. Screw you, it's a moral question. I mean, you're just being a cheap ass, and you want people to die. And that most people are already working that, so they're going to find, it's like Doge. They're not going to find a lot of waste. You know, or the stuff they're going to cut, like gutting the National Intelligence Force. That's moronic. But also, when you have a middle manager in charge, Tulsi Gabbard was a middle manager. Pete Hegseth was a middle manager. They were never leaders. Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I knew him when I was in college. He was 2 years ahead of me. Okay. He was a company commander. I think that's the last time he was in charge of any group of people. He's a middle manager. He was retired. And they put him in, so they had to give him another star. And he didn't have you had to be on the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. You either have to be vice chair or a command, like Central Command, be in command of a command, or one of the leaders in one of the services, like the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, or the chairman of the staff of the Army, or the chief of naval operations. Dan Kane was none of that. He was none of that. And but then again, that's why if you look at it from a real good eye, Donald Trump is not successful. He took his father's money and pissed it all away.
Yeah.
It's like the old joke. How do you become a millionaire? You start as a billionaire and you buy an airline, and that will make you into a millionaire, because it'll just drain your money. Well, the guy who wrote Art of the Deal said it should be really labeled as fiction, because everything in it is bullshit. Everything is bullshit. And Donald Trump, Trump always chickens out. You know that all these things, he doesn't even know what he's doing. And the problem with Dumb Donnie is you can do everything for him 500 times, and once you cross him at 501, he disowns you like, a whole cloth. Like
He's like a
fired.
gigantic narcissistic infant.
And that's why when he dies, he said that his son, that Vance is not his successor, and Donald Trump Jr. doesn't have the Riz. He doesn't have the Riz. The thing about Dumb Donnie, fat-ass Dumb Donnie, who smells like shit because he wears a diaper.
He shits his diaper all the time.
Yeah, he does. He stinks.
does.
If you were from Medio away, you'd say...
That's why he wears the baggy suit.
And
that's why it doesn't fit.
That's why, like Adam Kinzinger says, he doesn't know how people could be this far away and say not without a gas mask. I mean, he stinks.
Oh, yeah.
He literally stinks. And when he dies, like a tornado, when a tornado stops, a tornado can destroy a town, and then it just dissipates. There's nothing left. And you're like, what the hell was that? That's him. When he dies, this whole MAGA falls apart because the very long snake of MAGA, which there's no other head, when that head dies, now the people have nowhere to go.
That's because it's an extreme cult of personality.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And there's no other sucker to pick it up because it's not like.
I do like that.
You'll have a bunch of suckers fighting over it. It's like when Limbaugh died. Who took over talk radio? There's all these horrible imposters now, but there's no big name like that with that talent. And like when Trump dies, you're going to have your idiots, like you're going to have your J.D. Vance and your Hegseth and your Marjorie Taylor Greens and your Boeberts. They're all going to be fighting amongst each other as to who gets to be the head Nazi.
You haven't heard anything from Boberg, though. And
you haven't heard anything from her for a while
and
for some
Margie
reason.
Margie has turned against Dumb Donnie. When you lose Margie, I mean, you're like, dude, how the hell did that even happen?
Well, there's that big rift over the Epstein
the Epstein shit,
That's the funny thing. That did you see the short thing? It was on CNN where somebody brought up the Epstein thing and Trump flew off the handle. He flew off the handle.
I didn't see that yet. I want to see that.
Yeah, but that's what it was. It was just 2 or 3 days ago, and it's like, there's nothing there. Just leave it alone. Forget about it.
I know, and they just wrote a long article on this in the Atlantic magazine. So if you train people that conspiracies are real and that you know the answer to the conspiracy situation, right? Mm-hmm. Suddenly, when you say, I'm sorry, that conspiracy is not true, you've trained people to say, oh, so you're in on the conspiracy now? Mm-hmm. So you have this division inside of MAGA.
More division, the better. Divide and conquer. That's what they're trying to use on everybody else.
Well, it's the face-eating leopards club, because when you vote for the face-eating leopard, you can't believe it when the leopard eats your face.
Right. Like the idiot MAGA poor white trash people who voted for Trump, and they think, oh, he's just going to go after the alphabet people, and he's going to go after the brown-skinned people and the migrants and immigrants. But then when he comes for them and their health benefits and kicking them off Medicaid, they're going to learn.
Well, and
he only cares about himself and helping his billionaire oligarch buddies.
But you know what's funny is that Tom Tillis from North Carolina, when he said he wasn't going to run again, and that's now he has free reign. He said, call the balls and the strikes. That's how Tom Tillis put it. And Trump torched him for a little bit, but all you need is a couple more to do that. He can only torch 4 or 5 because they're afraid of a bad tweet. But then Dumb Donnie will lose interest. He'll lose interest, and then it just goes away. But he will torch 4 or 5, and you just got to, because like my member of Congress is that Nick Langworthy. I wrote about something stupid, and I get this this form letter back about how the good that Doge is doing.
Oh, jeez. I think that idiots on WBEN on like those horrible talk shows like David Bellavia and Tom Bowerly as a guest regularly.
I can't curse Bellavia because he has the Medal of Honor. So
he does, but he's also a moron. He's like the worst damn Rush Limbaugh imitator out there. He's terrible. He sucks. He has no talent, no ability, and he's really fucking stupid. I wish they would kick that bastard off the air.
But he still gets my props.
Is that the one that wants to get more benefits for veterans because the government's been shorting them all these years? Or is that a different perspective?
That might be part of it, but he's always attacking tons of vulnerable groups.
Well, that when again, if you're a non-Jewish white male, you got this world by the New York. You got this nation by the ass.
Yeah,
because like in what's in.
Unless you're a liberal.
No, it wasn't Portnoy's complaint. Maybe it was in Love Story about Oliver. It was the in the top 10 graduates from Harvard Law, but he was the only one that wasn't Jewish. So that's how they differentiated. Eric Siegel differentiated that. But I remember Portnoy's complaint. You know the last line. So shall we begin? Philip Roth wrote it, and it was like in media res. It was like Finnegan's Wake. But
so
it
shall we begin? What? What do you mean? What are we beginning?
The last line is him with his therapist saying, so now it's the whole book.
It's the whole book, and they end it with, so shall we begin? Okay,
yeah,
well, that's funny.
He sounds like a total insecure Jewish guy. I mean, so
there's a good Jewish comedian who had I saw one of his shows where Michael J. Fox was his upstairs neighbor, and he had bought this new shirt, and Michael J. Fox says, do you want a drink? And he's shaking because he's got Parkinson's.
Oh, this is the later Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he got pop over shirt, so you got his shirt rocked, and it was like he couldn't say anything about it because he knew that Michael J. Fox couldn't help it. But
Tom, did you mess with the headphones again?
Yeah, it's coming and going. It's popping
Yeah.
in and out.
Ooh, it's popping in and out. It's getting excited.
Okay, so I have a crude joke for everyone, but it won't be
I like
dirty.
crude jokes. Is it about oil? Crude. Texas
No,
tea.
no, not about.
They found it in Beverly.
No, what is the first
No, they found it
definition
in
of
Texas
crude?
and they moved to Beverly.
What is the first definition of crude?
Oil.
No, it isn't.
it means how do you say that?
Base.
Yes.
Yeah,
And not the instrument or the sound tonal quality.
no base BASE. It's
Yeah.
lowest, the
Yeah.
lowest common denominator.
Like MAGA.
So Bear says to the rabbit, "Hey rabbit, do you have a problem with poop sticking to your fur?" And the rabbit says no. So the bear picks up the rabbit, wipes his butt with him.
I heard that before.
That's great. That's the Charmin bear. That's where they got. That's why they have the Charmin bears because it's
Why
a play
would-
on that joke.
Why would bears use toilet paper?
They use rabbits.
No, that they you see in the commercials that they have toilet paper sticking off their ass, not
Yeah.
rabbits.
Oh, yeah. Why would they? That's a good question. That commercial makes no sense.
Correct. There it is. Finally, something we agree on, and I didn't have to interrupt you to say it.
Well, Mr. Whipple died, so they had to replace him.
Well, Mr. Whipple is always squeezing the toilet paper. That's just creepy.
They're like breastises to him.
Hey,
Is there a sexual
Why was it?
component
Why
to that?
during COVID
Yes.
did it all
This
the,
is
there's
fine.
never any toilet paper?
well, I don't. Does anybody have a Motorola phone with them? Because you look at the M and it looks like the mammillary bodies.
Oh, it
and
does, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a cool logo.
That there's the two mountains, but
I
it
think
looks
Tom
like,
has one, don't you? Do you still have? Do you have a still have a?
I left my phone
Motorola
out in the car.
or not?
But that's why the mammillary bodies in the brain, they look like that. They look like two breasts. Because
Breastises.
that Wernicke's encephalopathy and Korsakoff psychosis are the chronic effects of drinking. And so, no, I don't have that because Korsakoff psychosis is you completely confabulate everything because you can't make new memories. So it'd be like, you ask me what I had for breakfast, I'd say, I can't remember. So I say, I had eggs Benedict with a great bechamel and I had a bottle of white wine with it.
So confabulate
All
means
the-
to make up
Yeah, confabulation are
because
lies. And
people out there might not understand what that word means. It's
well,
a big word.
Yeah, that's lying. But that confabulations are huge. That they don't know. They make up stuff because
Yeah.
they can't remember anything. Or like, where'd you go yesterday? You can't remember, so you said, well, I was in the Mediterranean. I was out at Capri, and I took the.
Go to the
Concord
bar
down."
again.
No.
Now remember the end of
bar?
"Take Me Home" from Phil Collins, the
Oh.
video.
Take me home. Oh no, we can't
Take
do
me
that
home
'cause
tonight with
they'd have to.
Eddie Money.
Edward Monahan actually was a New York City cop
Yeah.
for a couple years, 2 years,
Yeah,
I
it
think.
was.
And that was his given name was Monahan.
So that was before he became a rock star?
Before
Yes.
it became Eddie Money, he was a cop.
Yeah,
What
he
are,
was
what are some of
The
his
original
best
cop
songs?
rock. 2 Tickets to Paradise.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was a big one.
What is that
Waiting
mean?
so long.
What does 2 Tickets to Paradise mean?
It's
I was assuming it was.
Getting
It was
laid.
more. Yeah, that's right. That's always thought what it meant, but
I think it's a sexual innuendo, probably.
but paradise. I don't think you can find paradise on Earth. Well, you can, but
You've
you
never
can't.
been to Hawaii, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you could. Being homeless in
Are
Hawaii
you-
is the
are-
easiest place
Hawaii
to do
is
it.
paradise.
And if you think Hawaii is
closest.
good, Hawaii is like a BMW because when you go south, it's like going.
I do
to
like going to
Mercedes and
Electro
going
State Park.
Tahiti?
Southwest. Yeah, I was to Tahiti. That was incredible.
Oh, I wanna go to
And you go to
Tahiti.
Samoa. That's like a Maserati. I mean, it just gets better and better.
Oh.
You can live outside. And I said, being homeless in Hawaii, you can shower at the showers for the tourists on Waikiki Beach. They get the sand off. You can shower there, steal fruit off of trees, and you can work a job where you put your clothes on.
Yeah,
One
there's
of the-
fruit trees on the streets on the Big Island. Some of the towns you just pick bananas or
Yeah.
papayas
And
or mangoes.
There was one of the cooks at Hooters at the Aloha Tower who lived in the stairwells. Tyler lived. He was homeless and he lived in the stairwells.
If you had a van, you'd be doing really good.
But there's no
We
rivers.
need to
put your
wrap
van
up
down
soon
by.
because we got a minute 5 seconds left. So
There's a
let's-
Kaka Falls and Rainbow
let's
Falls.
Oh,
try to
we
wrap.
jam a lot in. We can do the minute waltz.
We
Actually,
jam it in. We make it fit.
That's what she said. That's what she said. So, does anybody wants to call 202-8430 in the next 50 seconds?
Last
We're
call.
more than happy
Last
to talk
call
to
for
you.
alcohol.
Finish your whiskey, your beer. Move it move it to
Your
the
rum.
aisles. Yeah,
Your
semisonic.
scorpion bowl or your zombie or your Polynesian paralysis, your tiki drinks.
And
And God bless everyone.
but there is there are not brown recluse spiders, but there's a relation to a brown spider in Hawaii that's poisonous. It's related to the recluse
Yeah,
family.
there is.
But it's not the brown recluse, not the fiddleback, but it's another one. But now I'm Loxosceles. That's the Black Widow.
Five,
But Lectrodectus.
three,
Loxosceles is the.
one.
Good night, y'all.